Jacob, as co-creator of Letterkenny, what made Shoresy stand out as a character who should have his own show?
Jared had an idea. That's really it. Jared had an idea for a show about Shoresy. Clearly, we like hockey. We love hockey on our show. And he wanted to do a hockey show. And Shoresy was the kind of the road to that. So that was how it came about.
Nice. And Kaniehtiio, you have extensive experience both on the camera side and behind the scenes for both Letterkenny and now Shoresy. Do you have a role that you prefer out of the two?
No, because they're so different. I mean, it was sort of coming onto Shoresy as consulting producer was really cool because I started realizing that all of this experience that I had as an actress for almost 20 years, I was exercising these other muscles now and still getting to be creative and still getting to make sort of, like getting to see all of the casting, getting to, help design some of the characters' wardrobe. And I don't know, I got to use all of these other muscles that I didn't realize that I could flex.
Awesome. And Harlan, Sanguinet is one of the few people who really willingly puts up with Shoresy as a close friend. How natural was the chemistry between you and Jared, and how did that contribute to the way you played your character?
Oh, it was like even when we first got on set, it just felt right away like this guy can be my older brother if he wanted to be. And so I feel like that carries on to Shoresy and Sanguinet in the show. So that's where I feel like we stand with that.
Awesome. And Jacob, as Canadian as Letterkenny is, and I say that as another Canadian too, I love it. Shoresy is even more so because it revolves around hockey. So how difficult is it to kind of convey that distinctly Canadian identity with so many, in a sea of American shows?
We're just doing it. It's like, that's the show we made, there's no attempt to make it Canadian any more than there is just the attempt is to actively reflect what hockey is like in Northern Ontario. You're going to have French people, you're going to have Indigenous people, that's the way it's going to be. There's no larger agenda than that to it. And then there's always, I think, a part of us that are like, when we release something new, at least I guess we felt this way when we launched Letterkenny for the first time in the States. We're like, will people care about this? Will they give a shit? And there's a part of me that feels the same way about Shoresy, but I trust our fan base. They've been along for quite a ride in America. They seem to love the show. So hopefully they'll love Shoresy too.
For sure.
Or they can just keep imagining we can do a dubbed version where they just say football every time you say hockey. Just say football.
Perfect. And Kaniehtiio, how different is working on this show compared to Letterkenny? Was it more or less challenging?
Again, on Letterkenny, I just come in and do my tennis thing and get out of there. But this one, I was like, I got to sit behind the monitors. And to be honest, it's not that I don't know anything about hockey, but it's like, I come from a family of all women. None of us played hockey. We did play sports, so I am into sports. If you tell me to cheer for a certain team, I'll be like, okay, so that's who I'm like gunning for. But
you just want to pick a side.
When there was like things written about, I'm like, I have no input on this. Like, I trust all of you. I was more to just help guide the Indigenous representation. And, I think because of Jared and Jacob's sort of experience with me on Letterkenny, having me come over to Shoresy was, I feel like, just sort of easy. And I think that they already, I didn't have to say no to anything. It was more like, hey, what if you do this and then maybe add a little bit of this, and that will make it like super authentically Indigenous, because because of working with me before, I think they already get it.
For sure. And you can tell it was very important to have that Indigenous representation. Was that difficult to kind of do, or did it come very naturally?
I think, like I said, I think it came pretty naturally to them already from the time spent on Letterkenny. There were things where I got to, get beaded medallions made, or I was like, watch. Okay, we're going to get Harlan dressed up. When he gets dressed up, oh my God, the women are going to want him because he's going to have his hair in braids and have a nice big medallion. And I was like, trust me on that. And so those are sort of like some of the things that I was like, I wanted to make sure that it was authentic in that way. And like I'd said to some other people, what is exciting about this show is that it's, it's just Indigenous people being Indigenous people playing hockey. There's not some big revolution happening. The revolution in itself is just that we get to be us. We get to just be there, and we're part of the landscape that is Canada and that is hockey, and just allow us to be there. It would be weird if we weren't,
Yeah, I think that's an important point, is that if you were going to tell a story about hockey in Northern Ontario and you didn't have any Indigenous people in it, you would be specifically eliminating them from that. They're there.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the makeup of it. It would be like trying to tell a hockey story in this country without having any French people involved. Or you'd be like, well, that's not a thing. We all know that's not a thing. Yeah. So it's just like, exactly to Dio's point, like people are just there. That's the makeup. And something that we've always taken a lot of pride in, but also taken seriously as responsibility, because God knows, like, few other white people will put Indigenous people on TV. So yeah, we something that matters to us.
That's awesome to hear. And Harlan,
Harlan's the one I regret, though. Now that you mentioned him, he's not in this room, is he? Oh, Harlan, hi.
Oh, hey.
Oh, that's awkward. You can't. I was on mute. Wait, never mind. Go ahead. Ask Harlan a question.
So Harlan, how similar are you and Sanguinet? Like, is the character informed by you, or was it written already?
I think there's a good balance between both. Like, I tried to do a little bit of the Letterkenny thing. I remember in one of my auditions, and it's like, no, it's like Sanguinet's a little more shy and reserved. I was like, oh, so I just play myself then. Okay. So like, there wasn't really too much to try make that jump, except the fact that Sanguinet has all these ladies looking at him, and I got maybe one. And there's just one, maybe.
That's great. And Jacob, just to wrap up, what made the Big Nickel where the place that made sense for this show?
I mean, we've been working in the Big Nick.
We live there.
So long. Yeah, seriously. We feel like we live there. So it was actually just kind of finally surrendering to where we are, I suppose. And also, I think that we both felt confident that we could film this city. I mean, we know this city. We trust ourselves with this place. Like, we've been literally basically spending every summer and some winters there for 7-8 years now. So Sudbury chooses you. You don't choose Sudbury.
But also, I think the cool thing is, Sudbury is a character. It's a character, I would say, in the show. Yeah. Because it's interesting enough.
It is. I mean, until you've been there, now.
Interesting.